Hello, nurturing parents, and welcome back to the Nurturing Parent Podcast. And if it's your first time joining us, we're excited to have you join us for this week's episode because I think this is a popular topic. I am one who really cared about raising polite children, and so I truly enjoyed this episode. So if you are one that cares about your kids having manners and being polite, whether it's when they're receiving a gift or just being able to greet people out in public or while you walk into their homes or somebody else walks into your home. This is going to be a great episode. It really opened my eyes, and Amma will give us the 2 or 3 tools that really will help lead you to success in this. So if you are excited to learn what those tools are, stay tuned. All right, so let's get into it.
Hey, Mama, welcome to the Nurturing Parent Podcast. Do you want to end the constant battles for bath time? Do you find yourself emotionally exhausted at the end of the day? Do you wake up with big hopes for a smooth day of fun with your little ones, only to face an early morning meltdown because you peeled their banana the wrong way?
Silly you.
Silly you.
Hey, I'm Serena. I'm a mama of 2 little ones, and as a new mama, I constantly question myself. I wanted to make sure I was raising respectful kids while also building a strong bond with them. But I discovered that I had to unlearn my ideas that punishment was the way. With Lisa's encouragement, I've been practicing a respectful and gentle parenting approach, which is strengthening our bond as a family.
And hi, I'm Lisa. Amma means grandmother in Icelandic. I am a mama and an amma. And I have over 40 years of experience in childcare and parent coaching. And I am so excited to share the knowledge I've gained over these years with you.
Together in this podcast, each week we will explore some easy to implement skills you can add to your parenting tool belt to help you create a happy, thriving family.
All right, Mama Serena. Let's talk about how to raise polite kids. Tell me, what have you got? What is going on in your world?
Well, I like to think that I raised some polite girls, but there are, of course, instances like maybe if we're in the grocery store and lots of strangers love saying hi to beautiful little kids in the shopping cart. And I don't force them because they are strangers and my daughter doesn't want to say hi. I just kind of ignore it like while I'm looking for my eggs or something. So I'll let her do what she wants to do. But growing up with my grandparents, there was kind of this respect and politeness instilled in me that I would love to have instilled in my children. And we do encounter problems when we go maybe to my dad's house, which he's rough. If you listen to the show, you might know. If not, my dad is kind of that strict parent. And if you walk in and don't say hi, he'll be like, get over here, say hi, don't be rude. And, that doesn't really help the situation either. But I would like my kids, especially when they get older and I'm not around, for them to walk into their friends' houses and be able to say hi and greet their friends' parents and, be known as that nice, respectful kid that walks into somebody else's home.
Beautiful. Okay. That kind of politeness. This is a good conversation. And there was so much there. I kept wanting to jump in. So let's jump in now. You used the word, I want to instill this in my children. And instilling something in our children is a little bit of that tough, like, I'm going to make you do it this way. That word brings that up for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I want to say about having children become polite and respectful is that it's something that they learn and they naturally grow into rather than having it be instilled in them. Do you hear the difference there?
Yes, that
Okay.
instill came from my father.
Exactly. Yes. Okay, good. Because that's what I picked up on was this. I want to instill this in my children. And I actually think that from my experience with your children through Zoom, I see they say hi to me and we chat on Zoom and things. So it's not like you have super rude children. So
Hmm.
they are growing into it. And the first thing I wanted to say is that children are not born, babies, infants, newborns don't know how to be in our society. It's all a learning curve. From day one, they are learning. And remember, in those first 3 years, they learn massive amounts of things about the world around them. And by the time they're toddlers, they have learned to walk, they've learned to crawl and climb and run. They are learning to speak language or languages. They are, learning how to communicate their needs and learning the nuances of society is part of all that they're learning. So we need to give them some grace and we need to, you know what I'm going to say, be the role model.
Yes.
We want to be the respectful, polite person that we want them to become, right? Um, Demanding manners. This is in my notes, and I want to ask you how it goes with your dad. Demanding manners doesn't work. That's what my note says. How does it go when your dad says, and perhaps listeners, perhaps you have a grandparent or great grandparents in their lives, or friends or aunties or whomever who also is like, get over here and say hello to me, right? How does that go? How's your children responding to that?
You can see that it makes them more uncomfortable. Maybe will even make them a little more emotional, and it just definitely does not make them want to say, "Oh, hi, yeah, how are you?"
Right? Demanding manners does not work. So when they're are they like hiding behind your legs or holding onto your hand tighter? What are you seeing in their body?
Yeah, they might be exactly that, hiding behind my legs. Maybe they're just even taking their shoes off or their jacket and just completely ignoring him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our children are learning constantly about how to be in our society. And how is it when you go to your grandparents' house, for example, the people who did, as you said, there was a lot of respect expected in that household. How is it when you get there, their house?
Yeah, I might actually do some pre-paving when we do go to my grandparents' house. And maybe because we don't see them as much, and I do feel that need to have my kids say hi. But they
Mm-hmm.
they are very willing to say hi and greet my grandparents. They're great grandparents
Their great
when
grandparents. And
we go see them.
yeah, so I'm wondering, our children will encounter people who are more easygoing and more um not that your dad isn't loving, but his way of expressing love, get over here and say hi to me, doesn't really bring out that warm, fuzzy, hi, grandpa feeling, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the great grandparents, I'm guessing that they're so excited to see you because they see you less often. You're like their granddaughter that they adore, and they're probably just oozing out the love. Am
Yeah,
I right?
for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why your children would have more willingness to go into the hi, grandma, hi, grandpa, whatever that is. Right. So, what do we do when we have those sticklers in our children's lives, like grandpa in your case? And you said it already, free paving. It is your friend. Let's point to that episode where we talked about consent, because we talked quite deeply about what to do if a child doesn't want to say hello or goodbye in that episode as well. In with an overview of consent. So that was episode number.
109, which will
Oh,
be in the show notes.
okay, great. Episode number 109. And we'll talk about it again here. We can't actually force anyone to say anything to us or to anyone else. We can't make sound come out of a child's mouth or our husband's mouth or anybody, right? That's not something we have control over. So we want to elicit that from them. We want to encourage that. We want to inspire that. We want that to be an intrinsic desire, right? That intrinsic motivation.
Yeah,
That's
one of
what
my
we
favorite
want.
words.
Exactly. So, how do we get there? I'll come back to pre paving, but number one, we want to model for our children. And that's not just when you arrive at grandpa's house or auntie's house or whoever that might be. That's all the time in your life. How polite and respectful a person are you? When you get home at the end of your workday and you're inundated with your children coming after you for attention, your partner coming after you for attention. If, like you, Serena, our listeners might live in multi generational houses and you've got all this stuff coming at you, when you walk into that room, where's your respectful communication? How polite are you being? Hello to everyone in the room. Hi, how's it going? Or are you just putting your blinders on and getting through that room and getting to your little quiet zone that you need to get to? And that's fine. I just want you to notice who you're being in the world of being polite and respectful around you. Our children learn 1,000% through modeling, our modeling what we want to see, right? Do you say pleases and thank yous? That's, of course, another big part of politeness. And for this episode, we are going to focus more on the hellos and the goodbyes because that was your main concern. But are you saying your pleases and thank yous? Are you greeting people and saying your hellos and goodbyes? And are you acknowledging your children when they come running up to you and want to throw their arms around your legs and you're just trying to get in the door and you just like want to take your coat off and and are you able to say, it's so good to see you. Hi, I'm glad to be home. Give me half a minute to get my coat off and we can snuggle on the couch or whatever that looks like in your world, right?
Yeah, my husband, he's actually really good at that. And oh my gosh, it amazes me because he'll work 12 hours and then come home with the biggest smile on his face, so happy to see all of us, and just always has the most warmest greeting. And the kids run up to him and hug him and kiss him. And it made me really look at how I walk into the house when I get home, which is usually exhausted, which I'm sure he is, but he still manages to put a smile on his face. And so
Mm,
that was a big
that's
lesson for me.
that's beautiful. And you know what I'm going to say? I do this for myself, and it just came to me when you described that what your husband's doing after a 12-hour shift. I prepave for myself.
Mm.
When I'm going home and I'm exhausted and I'm going to arrive in this busy house and all these people are going to, and all their energy, and all I want to do is go hide in my room for half an hour. And by the way, if you're that kind of person who needs that decompression time, you can set that up. And initially, if you can pre-pave in your brain, okay, I'm going to get home and they're all going to want to give me hugs and kisses. And I know I just want to get upstairs to my room and hide for 20 minutes. But when I walk in, I'm going to have a smile on my face because I am happy to see my babies and I am happy to see my husband. And I'm going to say hello to the other people in the house. And then I'm going to say, all right, mama's going to go get my 20 minutes upstairs. And when I come down, we're going to hang out for the rest of the evening. So pre-pave for yourself. Psych
Brilliant.
yourself up. Even when you're exhausted, you've got that little extra bit. You've seen it in your husband. He may be more of an extrovert. And so, for those of us who are more introverts, this is going to be more challenging. So, talk to your husband too, or whomever. If you're lucky enough to live with other people, if you're a solo parent, I feel you. I have been there. And then you need to talk with your child about it. But what I want you to do is set yourself up for that success so that when you are arriving, you are modeling the greetings, how you want your child to learn greeting. And you're modeling getting those needs met. I love you. I'm so happy to see you. Mama's going to run upstairs now, and I'll see you in 20 minutes if you have other people there. If not, maybe you got to set up some art activity for your child or some Play-Doh or some water play or that kind of thing. Have that ready when you both get home at the end of your busy days and you're both tired so that your child can do that while maybe you've got to go and just get into making the dinner, but do what you need to do to set yourselves up for success. I'm excited that I just came up with pre-paving for yourself. We haven't talked about that yet. And
Yeah, that's pretty genius.
I just realized, wait, I do that all the time. I need to share that with you. All right. So pre-paving for your children. When you're going to grandpa's house, Serena, do you prepay for them going there? Because you go there more often. It's more of a regular occurrence. And that is one place where you're having that stickler. What's
Yeah.
happening? Yeah.
So I probably pre-paved once and thought it was a one and done kind of thing. But
Perfect.
when you brought it up, that does make sense. And I know pre-paving really, really, really works, especially with my kids. So just a reminder that I can do
Yeah.
that would be a big help.
Excellent. Oh, I love the one and done. Yeah, no. Not for you and not for your child.
Yeah.
Your children are learning a million gazillion things in those early years. A million gazillion things. When you learn a new thing, Serena, you just went to a podcast festival,
Convention.
convention, and I asked you what before we started recording, tell me three things you learned. And you were like, because you heard them come in once. You were able to share three things with me, but you hear something come in once. And if you can recall it again 2 days later, good for you. But our children are learning new things every single day.
Yeah, I mean, even this podcast, I've learned so much every time, every week, and we meet twice a week, every week, and it's the same things being said basically, but yet we're 2 years, almost 2.5 years into this, and I'm still needing to hear it again and again and again to put it into
Yes,
practice and to really let it soak in and become part of my lifestyle.
yes, yes, yes. And that's what our children need too. So, pre paving, for those of you who are new to the podcast and you're like, what the heck's that? Um, we encourage you to go back and listen to more episodes. And here's what pre paving is: you're buckling into the car. We're going to grandpa's. I'm excited to see grandpa today because, and fill in the blank. And then you're driving to grandpa's. And we're just using grandpa as your example, whoever it is in your life or wherever you're going, and you would like your children to say hello when you get there and to say goodbye when you leave. So you just say, we're going to go in. When we get there, I'm going to unbuckle you from your car seats. We're going to hold hands walking up the sidewalk, and we're going to go in the front door. And then we get to say, what do we say when we walk in the front door of someone's house? And if they don't answer, we say, hi, Grandpa, or hi, if there's anybody else in the house, or hello. And Grandpa will say, hi. And if we don't say hi to Grandpa, what does he say to us?
Don't be rude.
Mm-hmm. And so then there might be a conversation to have. Ooh, that hurts a little bit. That hurts a little bit when grandpa says, don't be rude. I felt that just now. And it hurts because you're not actually being rude. You just are a little nervous about saying hello. And it's okay to feel nervous. And we're going to practice saying hello together because that's actually what we do in the world. When someone says hello, we say hello, and you just give them that little bit. And so then when you arrive at grandpa's door and you go inside and you say, hello, grandpa, even though he's your dad, you're modeling for your children. And if they don't say at that time, that's okay. Hmm. You don't feel like saying hello out loud today? I'll say it. Hello, grandpa. Hello, grandpa. Hello, grandpa. And there you can bring in some humor and some playfulness. Serena, you once brilliantly said on the podcast, playfulness is a child's language.
Thank you.
So you did. I loved it. It's just such a gorgeous statement. Um, so yeah, get playful. You say, hello, grandpa, and nobody else says anything. Hello, grandpa. Hello, grandpa. Hello, grandpa. And just be playful. Oh, okay. And then you just carry on with your day, right?
Yeah.
And then when you get back in the car, you're going to say your goodbyes and you're going to prepave the goodbyes before you get there. You're going to say, we're going to say hello when we get there. We're going to say goodbye when we leave because that's what we do in polite society. And that's all you say. You don't go down the deep road of, I want to raise respectful children. None of that.
Yeah, that was I was just thinking that and how that's my own sugar honey iced tea from when I was little. You know what sugar honey iced tea is, right?
No.
S, sugar, honey,
Oh,
iced tea.
okay. I'm going to learn something new.
So that's my dad yelling at me, telling me to say hi, don't be rude, and that's me wanting that for my kids because that's what my dad yelled at me for when I was little, and that was my own stuff
Yes.
coming up for my kids, and that's not their problem. And the best thing that I can do is, like you said, the pre-paving, the modeling, and not just forcing that onto them, instilling that in them.
Yes. Okay. Now I'm trying to find the number of the podcast that was, we interviewed a beautiful person and we talked about healing our childhood wounds
Yes.
so that we're not, so can you look that up for us?
Yeah, and I'll put it in the show notes.
Put it in the show notes. Thank you. Okay. That is what we're talking about. That is you. And I love that you just got that. I could have told you that that was your sugar honey iced tea, your stuff. Um, and that may have gone in one ear and out the other. Yeah, yeah, but you
Yeah.
just got that.
Yeah.
And parents, I want you listening for your stuff. I want you to get, ooh, there it is. There's my stuff. This is me. I'm now 4 years old, and my dad is saying to me, get over here and say hello and be respectful. He's demanding respect from you. And you're feeling that again for your 1 year old and your 3 year old that are standing beside you. And you're now 4. So you can't actually be their parent in a really helpful way when you're being 4,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So that's beautiful because then you get to go, oh, there I am being 4. Now I'm going to be my adult me and I'm going to say, hi, Grandpa. And then we're just going to come into the room and do what we do. And I'm going to be okay with the fact that my children are still learning that it's okay to say hello to Grandpa, even though he's trying to demand respect from them. And that I know that that's not the way to get it. So you're going to support your children in learning that gently, and they will. I promise you they will.
And that too is gonna help, like I said in the beginning, how I want my kids to go to their friend's house and greet their friend's parents. That's most likely gonna happen from them gently learning these things and not being forced to do it, because when mom's not around, I'm not being forced and I don't have to do it.
Exactly. And when you say what your dad says, get over here, say hello to grandpa. I get anxious inside. And this is just some a story you're telling me, and I can access the anxiety in my adult body, right? So as a 1 year old or a 3 year old who's in the room with that grown man who's gruff and loud and demanding, there's anxiety in there, or there's fear even. And there's certainly not, ooh, I want to run up and give grandpa hugs and kisses right now. So, one of the things I really encourage you is to say, oh, so you're not feeling like saying hello out loud right now. That's okay. Maybe next time. And you're giving your children the okay, and you're teaching them each time you're pre-paving, each time you go there, you're pre-paving that that's what you do when you arrive. You say hello, and you're saying it for them the times that they need you to. And then when you leave, you can talk about it. What happens for you when grandpa wants you to say hello, but you don't say hello? Can you share anything about how that feels in your body, or if you have thoughts in your head about that? And you might be surprised what even a 3 year old will come up with, you know? And then there's an opportunity to just talk through that a little bit. Yeah, I could see how you might feel a little nervous about saying hello. That's okay, but we'll practice next time. So, what about in the grocery store scenario?
So in the grocery store, I mean, I just remember when I was little saying hi to all the strangers walking up and down Main Street. Um, but in the grocery store, sometimes she'll say hi, sometimes both, sometimes one will say hi. Um, Depends on their mood, I guess.
Hmm.
And in the beginning, I would say hi, go ahead, say hi. And then I was just kind of like, I want to see what they do. And so, like I said, I'll just keep looking for my eggs as the other person's trying to engage with my kid. Um,
Hmm.
and try to let them work it out.
Again, here, I mean, that's fine to try and let them work it out. And they might need a little bit more support in knowing that it is okay to say hi to somebody in the grocery store because you're there. It's safe, right?
Hmm.
And again, a little tiny bit of pre-paving, even as you're walking into the grocery store. It doesn't have to be much. I notice sometimes, this is you talking to your kids as you're walking in. I notice sometimes when we're out shopping, how people love to say hello to you because, I mean, let's face it, you guys are adorable and people love to chat with children. And I'm here and it's safe. So if someone says, hi, beautiful girls, hi there, it's okay for you to say hi and just engage even that little bit, right? So that's fine. A little bit of pre-paving there. And I would encourage you again to be the model. Somebody says hello to your children in public and they don't give them a moment and they don't respond right away. You can say, hello, nice to see you at the grocery store, and just carry on and pick up your eggs and move along. But just model that's what we do, because actually by you observing what they were doing and not saying hello for them, you were actually modeling, we're going to ignore these people.
Right.
And they may have been looking for your cue. And it's okay not to feel like saying hello sometime. And you can say that. And if the people are very insistent, some people are very insistent
Oh
when
yeah.
they're talking to strange children and, strangers. And they're like, they want this baby to interact because this baby is adorable and they just need this interaction. And, and you can say, oh, guess you don't feel like saying hello today. I'll say hello for you. Hello. And then move your cart along. Right. And it's fine. But those are some ways of encouraging, modeling, and the pre-paving here is really your friend. Anything else that might be helpful?
So my daughter, she does do this one thing that hurts my feelings, and it feels like she's not being very polite. But anytime I do make her something and I'll put all my effort into it, like I said, this, or like you mentioned, this weekend I went to a podcast convention and I was like, I have to bring back something for my daughter so they know I was thinking about them. And there was this one table where they had left beads, and I'm like, oh, my daughter would love if I made her a bracelet. So I made each of them a bracelet with their names on it, with hearts, because she loves pink and hearts and all those things. And it took some time, and I was like, Andrea is going to love this. But of course, I got home, I gave it to her, and she was like, ugh, I don't like that. I don't want that. And that's not the first time it happened.
Okay, let me jump in. This is really good. And I'm sorry that happened. And this is when we have to really be the bigger person. What I heard this time when you told me the story, this is the first time you have been away from your children
Yeah.
for a weekend. That's huge. You poured your love into making these bracelets with their names on them, and you knew they were going to love them. And you get home, and she said, what?
I don't like that, or I don't want that, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's not what I wanted. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, your job in that moment is to notice the feelings beneath the words. Maybe she was saying, I don't like that you were away from me for 3 days. Maybe that was under there. Our job on the outside, that's what I heard. I was like, I don't like that. It could have been anything, Serena. I don't like that. Huh. So this isn't what you were hoping for. Hmm. And you just say one tiny little bit like that. Oh, so you don't like the bracelet with your name on it? Oh, that surprises me a little. And maybe she'll give you a little more information. Sometimes they do. When we notice and acknowledge by describing what we just heard back to them, they'll sometimes open up and give us the next piece. And if she doesn't, or even if she does, you can carry on with the conversation, just really trying to listen for what she's saying. Oh, so this wasn't what you were hoping for. I hear that you're a little disappointed. And you can also say, you know, Mama worked. I was really excited about making you these bracelets, you two girls. And I worked hard on them. And I poured my love into them while I was missing you while I was away. Did you miss me? I sure missed you. Don't hold out on the miss me part in case it's too big an emotion right now for her to express, but throw it in there. Did you miss me? Boy, I missed you. And so I made these bracelets for you, and I was so excited to give them to you. And I hear that you're disappointed right now, and I love you. And when I make you a gift, I do expect you to say, thanks, Mama. Thanks for thinking of me. Thanks for making me a pretty bracelet. You can give them that expectation of how to respond to receiving a gift. Don't
Yeah.
don't go on and on about it. Just give them that little bit. Did anything there ring true for you?
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to respond to that. And you're right, the did you miss me? I asked her that this morning, and it was a big it brought up I could see it in her face that it was bringing up a big feeling for her, and that's exactly what I said. I missed you a lot, and I didn't force her to go into, so did you miss me? Did you miss me? Did you miss me? Because I
Mm-hmm.
saw in her face when I asked that, it seemed like it hurt a little bit, and then I just let her know how much I missed her.
Mm-hmm. I would err on the side of not asking that when we go away from our children because I'm going to assume that they do miss us and it can bring up that emotion. And I'm guessing she was on her way to daycare in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, that might not have been the best timing. But today, after you're home, you got home last night, today you're home. When she gets home, pour some love into her and pour some just you and her time and say, oh, and you don't even have to talk about your missing anymore, but you can say, oh, it's so good to hold you again. It's so good to
Right.
be here and snuggle into your head and your neck. And I love snuggling into, all that kind of thing. Right.
Yeah.
So that respectful piece about that gift receiving, that's another politeness, right? And I really think I'm guessing that she loves that bracelet. And I'm guessing that there were some big emotions that were in the way. I missed you. I'm mad at you. You went away. You're home again. I'm excited, but I'm not going to show you I'm excited. Like all those things could have been playing out for her. And when we give somebody a gift, drop the expectations
Yeah.
of how much they're going to love it.
Yes.
And just let her be with it. And you might see over the next week that she starts to love that bracelet or show you that she does. I'd be curious how that unfolds, actually.
I'll let you know.
Okay, so we touched on a few things here, everybody. We touched on the politeness and respectful greetings of hellos, and of course, goodbyes are at the other end of that. When somebody demands being said hello to or demands respect and how that doesn't really work. And we touched on receiving gifts and how to respond respectfully to that. So there's a few things here to work with: the pre-paving, the modeling, and the repetition. Those would be the three things that I would like to bring back to you after this sort of all over the map conversation today. It's good though, because I mean, raising polite kids is, lots of different pieces to that.
Right. Thank you, Emma.
Okay, you are welcome. We love you.
All right, so I really hope you enjoyed this week's conversation. Before I dive into my gems, I just want to let you know that next week for Valentine's Day, we have a beautiful couple join us. And yes, it's another amazing episode because all of our episodes are amazing, just like all of our guests are amazing. But I always say they're amazing because I truly, truly feel that. Anyways, next week for Valentine's Day, we have a beautiful couple join us, and we're going to talk about the reality of relationships when families start and how there might be a loss of connection. I mean, it does get difficult when the kids come into the picture. It definitely was super difficult adjusting in my relationship once we started a family. And so this conversation that we have releasing next Tuesday, the day before Valentine's Day, is a great episode to help you get in tune with your connection and really think about your relationship and how you can better connect with your partner. And it will get you in that lovey-dovey, hopefully motivate you to have a really nice, sweet Valentine's Day. So make sure you tune in next week for that episode. And now to dive into my gems. All right, I only have two. And I think Amma just made it so clear and simple. I'll start with number one, obviously, that politeness is something that our kids learn. And how do they learn it? By watching how polite we are. So if you think about it for a few minutes, really think about how polite you are. Are you saying hi? Are you saying please and thank you and not just yelling at your kids, say please? And What's it like when you walk into the house? Are you like I was and just walking in tired, grumpy, and not really excited or acknowledging the presence of the people around you? Or are you upbeat? Are you smiling? Are you greeting your kids, your family? Do you say please and thank you, hold doors open, are considerate? And then number two is that we want to encourage and inspire our kids to be polite. And the best way we can do that is by modeling and pre-paving. Always, always, always model and always pre-pave. It's not a one and done. But let your kids know your expectations. That doesn't mean demand them, but let them know what you expect of them. And so that's why I felt like this episode was so amazing, because it was clear, to the point, and it's that modeling, pre-paving, and doing it again and again and again and again. Okay, so I hope that you got something useful out of this episode. If you did, we would love if you shared it with somebody that you love that can use this information as well. And we always encourage you to drop a review. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you would just scroll down. You can leave 5 stars, and then below that, it will say write a review, and you could just let us know what you love about our show. So thank you so much for joining us. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
I want to sing with you. I want to dance with you. I want to laugh with you. Oh, how I love to be with you. I do. I do. Such a short time we've been together.